Hey everybody, Roman Versus here with the Squashfest podcast and my co-host.
7 kilos of brown chocolate. The boy Harm.
You said what?
77 kilos.
Of chocolate.
Brown chocolate.
Brown chocolate. Oh my
It's,
goodness.
I'm not white chocolate.
Okay, so today
Listen, this is part 2. I needed to switch it up from yesterday's debacle.
Facts. So a little tidbit for everybody. Me and the boy Harm, we recorded our podcast yesterday, episode 4. After we spent about, I want to say, an hour and a half. Plus, I also played a little trick on him. I recorded that. Realized none of it had audio. None of it recorded even a little bit of audio. And so today we're re-recording the entire episode from scratch.
You don't fail, you just learn from your mistakes.
You're not wrong, because I guarantee you we will never make that mistake again. So to everybody listening, today we'll be going over what was it?
Monday Night Raw.
Monday Night Raw on... No, I was just thinking the day because I forgot what day it is. What is it today? The Wednesday?
Today's Wednesday.
Oh, my lordy. We are breezing by the week. But yeah, so we'll be going over Monday Night Raw and our thoughts and recaps on it. So, let's go.
All right. Monday Night Raw this week was actually a really fun show. Really, really good. Capped off by the segment at the end with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. You want to touch on that first? You want to go through the show?
Let's go through the show.
I'll go through the show. All right. So we kick off the show, and Paul Heyman is walking into the arena, which again doesn't make any sense. Why he's showing up on a Raw 3 days after having the segment on SmackDown with Punk, Rollins, and Roman.
But not even that. We also touched on the fact it didn't make sense for his character to be smiling ear to ear walking into the arena. He should be distraught. He should be worried, something, but it ain't happy.
He looked elated and happy to be there, which didn't make any sense after what happened on SmackDown with Punk dropping the, not pipe bomb, but truth bomb that Heyman's going to be in his corner at WrestleMania and not in Roman's, and then dropping Roman with a GTS. So to see him happy just didn't make any sense.
Unless there's some motive for it later that we just don't know yet. But as of right now, it don't make no sense.
Yeah, exactly. So we see him walking to the arena, and then we get immediately cut to the ring. Adam Pearce, and again, worst GM in the history of Monday Night Raw. Adam Pearce is in the middle of the ring with the women's championship. So we immediately know, he's going to make an announcement for this match, and he calls out Bianca. And she looked great again in her goth black girl attire. But it was just out of the norm for her to be dressed like that, and it looked really good on her. And then he calls out Iyo Sky, and she comes out to the ring, and then he calls out former member of the Judgment Day, but he actually says representing the Judgment Day, which doesn't, again, pay attention to your own show. He goes,
that reminds me of that Carlito line when he's like, you don't watch the show?
Exactly. It's like professional wrestling. This is another one of the wrestling tropes. Anything that happens in the 3 hours they're on TV is all that seems to happen in their universe. Everything that happens when they leave the arena, it's like they go into a bubble. And that they don't see the outside world until the next show.
Facts.
So he calls out Rhea Ripley, and she gets into the ring, and he immediately tells them, "I messed this up. This is all my fault. I should. The reason we're in this situation is because of me. I shouldn't have put Bianca in as a special guest referee in the rematch. I should have given Rhea an actual, straight up championship match with an experienced ref. So because I messed up, I am adding Rhea Ripley into the WrestleMania WrestleMania title match. I'm making it a triple threat, which immediately Bianca is upset.
Mm-hmm.
She picks up the mic. She goes, "So I had to basically bust my ass through Elimination Chamber, earn my spot to get my WrestleMania match."
Mm-hmm.
And she gets to whine and complain and throw a tantrum and get into this match just because she can.
Yep.
And she literally says, "I'm not upset. I would, if this was a couple weeks ago, I'd be pissed off. But as of right now, I'm just gonna beat y'all both and walk out of WrestleMania champion." Rhea tries to speak,
Tried.
and Bianca tries to,
Tried.
and Bianca says, "Nah, nah, nah. You've whined and complained enough. Shut up and sign the contract." And Rhea signs it, throws it at Bianca, and then Iyo in her super chipmunk voice. I'm just sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is just every time she speaks now. She tries to get in between them as they're arguing, and Rhea pie faces her again. And so Iyo gets upset, walks out to the apron, ring apron, and hits a missile dropkick to the back of Rhea, and slingshots her into Bianca. And Rhea looked like she was going to get really hurt on that. Her neck snapped. It was crazy. Iyo walks out, grabs her title, signs the contract, walks out, and just, "I'm the champion." All that nonsense she does.
I love her.
So I love her too. I think I say this all the time. As far as a women's wrestler, she might be the most fluid wrestler I've seen. Just, oh God, when she starts speaking, it's a little annoying. It's Tama Tonga levels of annoying.
I don't find Tama Tonga annoying at all, and I don't find Iyo annoying. You're bugging.
And he goes,
yeah, that is hilarious. I love that.
What do you think about this segment?
I thought it was a good segment. Great way to start off the show, and we talked about it yesterday that no one heard. That we that's gonna be a piece throughout this podcast. Yesterday, as we said, Iyo better win this. You said you're losing faith that she will win this, especially with the fact that she came out on top this week, because we have a rule that if you come out on top during the show, you're more than likely going to lose, which I agree with. So it doesn't look good for her, but for me, what makes the most sense is for her to win. She needs to retain this title. They've been super disrespectful to her all throughout these weeks. I need her to come out and show out.
Yeah, absolutely. This match is going to be great regardless. And we also talked about how lazily booked this whole feud has been. They just literally said, "How do we get this to be a triple threat match?" "Oh, I know. We'll have Iyo beat Rhea for the title." "All right, then how do we get Rhea into the match?" "We're going to have the rematch, and there's going to be a double DQ with Bianca as the referee." Excuse me? Like, what? like how does that make any sense?
Steiner math.
Steiner math. It's a 66 and 2/3, whatever he's 141 and 2/3 chance of this being stupid. Yeah, but it's gonna be a great match. As I said, Iyo needs to win because she's been little brothered in this entire feud. That's basically it. It's the two alphas not paying attention to the person who they don't perceive as a threat, and she needs to win. I'm really not liking her chances of winning. Again, Bianca's undefeated at WrestleMania, and I think they might want to continue that going for a little while longer. Because I don't think Rhea walks out with this championship at all at Mania. If you cannot give her that title after she's
especially not only that, after that sick ass promo that she had cut earlier on when she lost the title initially, it looked like we were heading into a new character for Rhea in the like back to the super heel version of herself, and then that kind of fell flat.
The crowd won't let that happen.
I'm noticing, but there's always a way to make it happen. Like it or not.
100%. But the crowd, Rhea can set puppies on fire in the middle of that ring right now, and the crowd will cheer her. Yeah. Like the crowd is not going to boo this woman. She is the number, other than Cody and Jay. She's the number one babyface in this company. She is untouchable. They're booing Bianca, and I've never. I've never thought I'd see that. They're booing Bianca because they don't want to see Bianca win. They want to see Rhea win this match.
It's not happening.
I know it's not happening. She can't win. She complained her way into this match. She cannot win this match.
So basically, we want Iyo to win. We think Bianca's winning, and we're both in accordance that Rhea has zero chance.
Oh, I'm not saying she has zero chance because this is WWE and Triple H could definitely put it back on Rhea. I'm saying there's a 0% booking logic in making her win.
Copy. Glad we clarified that. All right.
It's Rhea Ripley. It's never a 0%. It's like saying Charlotte Flair has no chance of beating Tiffany Stratton.
I would 100% believe that she would beat Tiffany Stratton solo, just off of the fact that they seem to want to give her just statistics. They want this chick to be the 27th time women's champion.
But this is my point. This is Charlotte Flair. This is Rhea Ripley. All they have to do is say, "Nah, Rhea's great. Put the title back on her." They don't need to make logic out of it. It's Rhea Ripley and Triple H. All right, so we get out of that match. And first match of the night was actually we talked about this yesterday. It was Lyra Valkyria and Bayley in an Intercontinental Championship match, and it's great to see women leading off the first two segments of the show. Under years past, under Vince McMahon, if you maybe never got two women's segments on a show at all, your one women's match might have been 2 or 3 minutes long, if anything, right? There was, I forgot which WrestleMania it was, but there was a 10-woman tag team match that was canceled because they ran long on time. An advertised match that they canceled at WrestleMania because they ran long on time. So to see the women kicking off the show in prominent stories is actually really, I like this a lot. And
it's
Triple
healthy.
H is always, it's healthy. And then Triple H is always, even going back to NXT days where he put Sasha and Bayley in main events, like he wants to push women. He's a girl dad. He wants to push the women's division.
Yep. If only he felt the same about the tag.
We'll get into that when we get to New Day and War Raiders. Lyra and Bayley had a really great match.
Yep.
As much as I don't like Lyra's gimmick, and I don't like her gimmick.
Yep.
She's a fantastic in-ring competitor.
Mm-hmm.
She hit some things in this match, and she's smaller than Bayley. She hit some things in this match that really impressed me. That tornado DDT into a fisherman buster was really impressive. To have the core strength to do that. That weird tarantula thing where she put her in a surfboard and she just swung Bayley like a doll.
Yep.
Was really impressive. For such a small person, she has a incredible upper body strength.
Yep.
It's really great to see. She's been putting on great match after great match, whether it's against Raquel or Dakota Kai or Bayley or Ivy Nile. Every week she puts out a great match with somebody. So she's been really elevating that title as far as a work rate perspective. So the end of this match saw Bayley looking like she was going to win the match. She put Lyra Valkyria into a Walls of Jericho. Lyra, being the uber babyface, would not tap out. I guess Bayley saw that she would not tap out, so Bayley let her go and try to hit her with her finish, the Rose Plant. And Lyra basically Bret Harted her way into this win. She rolled Bayley up in a small package and got the 3 count. And Bayley was super distraught. You could see it right away. Like, I messed up. And Lyra went to shake her hand after the match. Bayley said no, slapped it away, was about to leave, was halfway through the ring ropes, and then said, no, I can't do that. Walked back in the ring and gave Lyra a hug. I love this match. This was really great.
Love the match. Love the finish. Love the fact that Bayley really looked distraught. To your point, she really looked upset about and character work aside, I felt that, like, I felt like she was ticked off in real life that she didn't win the title. I love the fact that with Bayley, as I said yesterday, she can just flip, where she's clearly a babyface right now. She was about to leave the ring. You could easily flip her into a heel right now, and she'd put on some of the best work that she's ever put on. That's what she does. Whether she's a heel, whether she's a face, just Bayley just always carries her character with such pride and the things that she does with it. I love that entire segment. Everything about it was fantastic. This girl's a really good wrestler, and I'll agree to pretty much everything you just said. I just don't like the gimmick. I don't like the she's a bird. I,
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
like it. I feel like in ring work though, like she's very impressive. I see why they moved her up to main roster. I see why they put the belt on her first. She's showing that she's a workhorse champion, and overall, just really good segment.
Yeah, I made the point yesterday that if they did wanted to flip Bailey right there when she hugged her, if she wanted to hit her with a Bailey to Billy, it would not have surprised me, especially going into the fact that these two women are going to be teammates on Friday in the women's gauntlet match to see who's going to go into WrestleMania to face Raquel and Liv for the tag team championships. So you could have started creating a dissension between the two of them, and you can continue, you know, Bailey being upset that she's not the Intercontinental Women's Champion and she has to team with the Intercontinental Women's Champion. But they didn't go that route. They wanted to keep the baby faces, which is fine because who else is going to face Raquel and Liv at Mania? We had conversated about this yesterday, and we don't have to go over all the 5 teams, but the other 5 teams have no shot. It's the Scottish Super Secret Service. It's Mia Yim and uh,
BFAB.
BFAB. Hold on. He does this when he's taking a shower. He just starts playing music.
Copy.
All right. All right. Well, we'll continue on. Hopefully, it's not too distracting and doesn't pick anything up. Um, but yeah, it was a great segment. Uh, Valkyria wins to retain the championship. After that, we got a backstage promo segment between, again, what is this guy's name? Bert, whatever. We should have looked this up after the show, the comedian.
No, no.
So Gable and American Made. Oh, I have really struggled with that. Gable and American Made have a backstage segment inviting and the comedian Bert something. Fat guy beard. He's on Netflix. You'll find
You could have
it.
just call him the comedian going forward. Don't struggle with the name. He is not
Yeah.
that important.
Okay. Well, they have a promo segment. Basically, he's like, "Oh, you're from Minnesota. I'm from Minnesota. Thank you for coming to see us." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't come to see you. I came to see somebody else." And then you see Otis come in, and they do the Hulk Hogan shirt rips and they expose their big old bellies, and then they go, "Yeah," and and then that eventually sets up the LWO
Mm-hmm.
versus American Made and El Grande Americano in a 6-person tag match.
El Grande
Um,
Americano.
really fun match. All again, this felt like a AAA CMLL type match. It felt like this was a tornado tag team match. The referee probably should have disqualified everybody 3 minutes into this match because no one was tagging anybody. They were just out there doing flips and uh, moonsaults and hurricane ranas and um, Cruz del Toro looked great in this match. I always want to call him his old name, but Cruz del Toro looked great in this match. Julius Creed looked great in this match. He at one point hits an amazing shooting star press off the top rope to break up a pinfall. Um, but it was really fun. Chad Gable, El Grande Americano. What can you say about this guy? He's been doing such great work. Ever going back to even when he was a baby face going to Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship about a year ago, he's been doing such great work. And this gimmick is over. He's getting it over, even down to the weird little Mexican music he comes out with. I don't know what it's called, like a mariachi band coming in, like his entrance music. But he's doing great. The one thing I will say, one critique I will say about El Grande Americano, Chad Gable's got to start coming out with some lucha inspired moves. Like I need him to come on and start hitting some Hurricane Ranas. I need him to start wrestling
Because
like
right
a
now
luchador.
he has the look, but he's not exactly a luchador. We need him. No,
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. If he were if he were to hit a 619 or anything like that, it'd
If
be
he calls a corkscrew plancha by Chad Gable, I would lose my shit. like, um, the finish of this match has Dragon Lee and Grande Americano in the ring, and Dragon Lee is getting the better of him. And Ivy Nile gives Chad Gable, I'm sorry, Grande Americano. I need to stop doing that because it's not Chad Gable. She gives Grande Americano a metal plate to put into his mask.
Mhm,
And Rey Mysterio, who's ringside, sees this,
mhm.
and he goes to stop him from jumping off the top rope, and immediately Americano headbutts Mysterio, knocks him out, and then does a diving headbutt to Dragon Lee to get the pinfall. Again, can we stop doing diving headbutts?
Mhm.
Like, I don't need to see seeing this diving headbutts anymore. We already got CTE with wrestlers and murders and murder suicides and all of these things because they bashed their heads into each other. You can't protect yourself on that move. So it's so we need to stop doing that. But so basically that was the end of the match. I love Grande Americano, and it leads to a backstage segment later. Again, this was a match that no one was asking for, but I think that it's going to be a really great WrestleMania match. Rey Mysterio goes to Adam Pearce and he says, I want a match at WrestleMania. And Adam Pearce looks at him and goes, you want to face Chad Gable at WrestleMania? And Rey Mysterio goes, no, I want to face the man who's disrespecting my culture, the man who's disrespecting Lucha Libre. I want to face El Grande Americano, and I want it at WrestleMania. And Adam Pearce is like, you got it.
Done. Yeah, facts. Which I'm excited about, but realistically, I do believe that we were talking yesterday, and I told you that I think the person, because we were talking about, all right, so how do you book this in the end, more or less, and I told you, well, Ray needs to win this match. You disagreed. You said no. I would love for Chad to win the match and then just continue on doing what he's doing and disrespecting Lucha, and then you got me to your side. Now I agree with that. That needs to happen. And then I said I want Dragon Lee in the end of the feud to be the one to unmask Chad Gable, because this entire time you brought him, you booked him as though he was going to be something, and he's fallen flat. And it's because you put him right away into the LWO, which is an entire group of people that you made it seem like you were going to build this thing and then never did. And so now he's just one of, and I hate that. So if you're gonna make this mean something and instantly give some credibility to Dragon Lee, I think he needs to be the one to unmask Chad Gable.
Yeah, which I basically I had said that it doesn't need to happen at WrestleMania. If you're going to build to it, have it be eventually a mask versus mask match or something where you can, you can sell it and then have. I said Rey Mysterio, you said Dragon Lee, which I actually agree with. I just thought about it as well. Dragon Lee, Ray has been saying is the future of Lucha Libre, right? But he hasn't done anything on the WWE roster. And now you have two other luchadors who he just signed who are higher on the pecking order than Dragon Lee, right? You have Penta and Phoenix who are kind of like going to fit that role. So what do you do with Dragon Lee to get him over even further? Because if you have three luchadors and two of them are you're shooting them to the moon, you're immediately going to not push the other one.
Yeah.
So you need to they need to do something with him because he is a super talented wrestler. Like he's been great as long as I've been watching him, but he needs to be doing something that's meaningful. All right, so we get out of that and immediately get into Gunther walking backstage, looking great, but looking like a giant Vladimir Putin. Gray suit, white shirt, red tie, looking elated with himself after the beatdown of Jimmy Uso last week.
Highly
And
impressed with himself the way he walked in.
absolutely, he's like, I'm the world champion. No one can touch me. These Samoans think they got me. Nah, we gonna prove to them why the ring is sacred and all this other nonsense he says. Anyways, that's what's going playing through his head. So he gets in the ring and goes to speak, and immediately he didn't say a word. Immediately he's stopped by Jey Uso's music, and we immediately said Jey needs to sprint down to the ring and beat down Gunther for what he did to his brother last week. He did not do that.
He did not.
He came out from the crowd like he usually does. But he was not excited. He was not traditional Jey Uso yeeting with the fans.
Yep.
This man looked forlorn. He looked upset. He was not wearing his merch. He was wearing all black. He was wearing his Yeet sunglasses, but I think that was to cover his eyes. And then he did not, sprint to the ring. He took his time to get to that ring.
Yep.
He gets in the ring. He doesn't look at Gunther right away. He has his head down. And Gunther goes to speak, and Jey slaps the microphone out of his hand, which was the first impactful thing he did.
Yep. He was like, "You're not talking tonight."
No,
he's like, "This is about what I gotta say, and that's it. I'm not trying to hear you. I'm not trying to."
Yeah, and he cuts an emotional Jey Uso promo. He wasn't speaking in it. It was almost like he was speaking in his normal, everyday speaking voice and not his character voice.
Yep.
Right. So he looks at Gunther. He goes, "Gunther, I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you have a mother? Do you talk to your mother on the phone? When you talk to your mother on the phone, what do you guys talk about? Do you talk about what you did this week? Do you talk about how's the baby? How's your son? How's the wife? Well, I have a mother too. And I spoke to her this week, and she asked me, how's your brother doing? And I had to tell her my brother is in the hospital bed with 15 stitches in his head because of what you did to him. And she asked me, why didn't you protect him, Joshua? Which again, this was really impactful because he used his real name. He didn't use Jey Uso. He's talking about Joshua and Jonathan. It's like, why didn't you protect him, Joshua? And I don't lie to my mother. I had to tell her, I'm afraid of you. I was afraid of what you were going to do. But a light bulb went off in the middle of that ring while I was holding my brother. And it's crazy to think that a light bulb went off in the middle of the ring in front of 15,000 people. I'm no longer afraid of you. And immediately you see Gunther's expression change. Gunther, I gotta sneeze. Sorry. I felt that coming. Gunther immediately is like, oh, I messed up. I was trying to break this guy. But in trying to break him, I inspired him to now where he wants to beat my ass. Jey punctuates the promo with the night before WrestleMania, I'm going to pray to the good Lord when I lay my head down on my pillow. And I'm going to pray to him and I'm going to ask him for forgiveness because Gunther, I'm going to get you. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to get you and I'm going to beat your ass. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to walk out with that World Heavyweight Championship. And Gunther looked like he saw a ghost.
Yep.
And he walked away, ran with tail between his legs. And just Gunther shouldn't be cowering away from anybody because he's the champion. He's the impactful champion. He's the more imposing character. But Jey, the way he delivered this promo, you felt it for Jey. So Gunther was probably like, damn, I need to get out of here. I'm not the biggest Jey Uso fan. They hate the gimmick. But when he does promos like this, he did a couple when he was in the Bloodline. He gets me because he understands.
He sells it.
He sells it. He understands his character when it comes to that aspect.
Yeah.
He's the fun-loving guy. He was one who wants to be one man of the people. He wants to be out there having a good time. But when it's time to do business, when it's time to be serious, Jay is amazing at that.
Yeah, 100%.
We also talked about how this feud has seemed lackluster,
Yeah.
and in the last 2 weeks, they flipped it on its head.
Yep.
So they've got me ready for Mania for this match.
And it just goes to show it only took 2 shows.
Mhm.
They gave us 3 weeks of whatever, and then they got us in 2 weeks in two
I think it's been
shows.
more than 3 weeks.
No, it was 3 weeks. It was the one where he fought the A-Town down, one of them. Then he fought the other one on the second week, and the third week was the tag match.
Sir, the Royal Rumble was the first Sunday in February.
What does that have to do with anything? I said
That
it's
was
been 3 weeks. I said it's been 3 weeks of complete lackluster. Before that, it wasn't complete lackluster. It was him
I
and
think
Gunther. No, don't do
I
that.
think this entire build has been bad up until the last 2 weeks.
No, don't do that.
I think it was him and Gunther attacking each other, but you didn't feel like a real blood feud between them.
Maybe not a blood feud, but you understood the feud, and you were like, "Oh, okay, yeah, this is gonna happen. Let's do this." Da 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 da. Now you're just like, "Oh my god, I need to see this. What is gonna happen with this?" Like, yes, there's
I think everything up until the Jimmy beatdown has been lackluster, very lackluster.
okay,
That's how I felt about this entire thing.
but that's also coming from a guy who's not big on Jey Uso. I'm not saying
Again,
that like to fault you. I'm just saying you're not that big on him anyway, so I understand why you would feel that way. I
if
get
you
it.
gave me good stuff in the first 6 weeks after Royal Rumble, I would understand.
No,
To
because
me,
realistically, you had to do it closer to Mania. Because imagine if they would have done this, but weeks ago to start, and then hit you with the A Town stuff.
no, that would make no sense. I understand, but there could have been stuff in the middle of this feud that helped push it forward, so that way you get to the Jimmy beatdown. Like I understand why they did Jimmy beatdown, but it was kind of like, all right, now we really have to put some fire on it, as opposed to building up to it. Because if you had weeks of Gunther really beating Jay down, and Jay still not like whatever, and then he takes out Jimmy, then I feel like the build could have been more solid throughout, because Jay would have already been upset. And then the confidence of, I don't know if I can beat him because he keeps beating my ass, would have made more sense. And then he takes out Jimmy, and then he's inspired. That's what I'm saying. It's like it just felt like we had no real nothing that they did felt of consequence until he attacked Jimmy.
I'll agree with that.
All right, so we had that, and also we're not going to do predictions right now, but this is the best Gunther's been as champion since he's won that title.
We talked about it. This
Yeah.
is the best he's been, and he's still gonna lose the title, which sucks.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we get that, and then we get War Raiders and the New Day in a World Tag Team Championship match, and New Day win by disqualification. Essentially, they're cheating. They're doing everything. They're doing everything to try to get the win. Um, One of the New Day, I think it was Xavier, picks up a chair, and one of the War Raiders punches the chair into their face, which I think the ref saw, and then disqualified the War Raiders. Is that how it ended?
Sure.
Like, they gave this match about 3.5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a tag championship match between one of the greatest teams in the history of professional wrestling and your current tag team champions. And they gave them 3.5 minutes on the show.
So
Um,
as we discussed yesterday in the show that will never air,
what if we air it and then we put subtitles underneath of what we think we're saying?
we could technically do a watch along of it and try to mime what we're talking about. That might be funny. But yeah, as we talked about before, the match itself didn't matter. What mattered what came after the match, which was the New Day being true heels and beating down the War Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've discussed for weeks that the New Day is a group that they're very talented at whatever you give them, they can make it work, but they haven't been given anything in quite some time. Yeah, they did the heel turn, which was amazing, and you thought it was going to go somewhere, and then it just hasn't. Yet another group, another tag team that it's the same story.
Yeah.
So
So
last night, we kept saying before this that they needed to do something heelish. They needed to do something to really make us hate them because up until now, they haven't really done anything.
and they did. They wrapped the chair around one of their necks.
Yeah.
I think it was Eric's neck. I'm sorry, I never call him Eric. His name will always be Roe to me. Their names are stupid in WWE. But they wrapped I'm just gonna call him Bald War Raider. That's what I'm gonna call him.
People won't know who you're talking about.
Eric Rowe, the Bald War Raider.
Thank you. So
He wrapped a chair around Eric Rowe's neck, and it was, and the producers came out to stop that from happening because they had just come back from injury, and basically it's called Pillmanizing. He was going to Pillmanize his neck.
so again, that was that was the end result that we needed. We needed the New Day to finally make that official turn. You know what I mean? By
Mm-hmm.
being the bad guys, by not stopping, by leaving Demolition, just in their wake. And they finally did that. So that was for me the important part of this match. The match itself didn't really matter. It was just your everyday normal match. But this, the aftermath, that's what was important.
Yeah, and we'll get more from these teams later, probably after Mania. I don't think this is a Mania match. Um, they just need to do something with that tag division on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
They need to build more teams. Like I love both these teams, but you can't have a two-team division. LWO needs to be advanced up. You need to uh, maybe put, if Dom doesn't win at Mania, maybe just have him and Carlito tag. I don't know. Do something with that tag division because they need to really push it. And it sucks that this is the creative that we're getting for that tag division. Uh, no one cares to watch it because no one thinks that anything's actually gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
All right, so then we get um, the main event match of the night: Penta versus Dominik Mysterio. Um, Fun match. Dom is always fun in the ring, even when he's being a heel.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait for him to become a babyface again and start doing the things he was doing when he was tagging with his father because he's an incredible wrestler. He knows his character, he knows his gimmick, he knows how to play off the crowd. Um, Penta is Penta. He's always going to give you a fun, entertaining match, even if it's a little formulaic. Dom hit a Canadian / Mexican destroyer on Penta in this match that looked amazing. Um, really fun. And so towards the end, Penta eventually gets the win. He hits him with the Penta driver. He got all his stuff in as well. He hit him with the crucible thing with the arm break, and he hit him with the tope over the top rope that he always uses. But he wins with the Penta driver. Immediately, Carlito hits the ring. They start beating down Penta. Um, Braun Breaker comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Braun Breaker's speed and athletic ability is incredible because he ran down that ramp ridiculously fast. And I know he played collegiate football, but he ran down that ramp so fast and hit one of the most vicious looking spears I might have ever seen in my life. He jumped in the air and looked like he was flying Superman style at Carlito's neck. To the point where people were putting on Twitter prayers for Carlito, and Carlito responded with "Thank you guys for your prayers and condolences. My funeral is this Friday." Like Carlito's amazing, but one of the most vicious looking spears and athletic spears I've ever seen. He hits the ring, and you think he's going to make the save. To your point, to yesterday, you think he's going to make the save and for Penta, and he doesn't. He's just like, this is my ring. I want to destroy everything. He hits Penta with a spear,
Mm-hmm.
and we're immediately waiting for Finn. We're going to waiting for Finn to hit the ring, and he kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know where he was. Where he
really
was.
did.
I don't know where he was. All of a sudden, he was in the ring, and he hit Braun with the 1914, that little Scorpion Death Drop DDT elbow drop that he does,
Yeah.
and grabs the title and stands over Braun for the closing of the segment. Again, don't touch the title when you're not a champion. Like, this man is the inaugural Universal Champion, multi-time Intercontinental Champion, multi-time NXT Champion, Tag Team Champion. Like, he's had a great career. Even if you can say his career in WWE has been underwhelming, he still had a great career. But you should not be grabbing somebody else's title belt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care. Like you do it. It's bad luck. It's a curse. Just it's so bad in the history of wrestling.
So this is gonna solidify that Dominik Mysterio is winning the belt.
I think Dom should win the belt. I think Dom went to walking around with that championship, pinning Finn and splitting up that group. I think that's the way to go. You get Dom even more heat. You imagine him and Liv walking around with title belts at the same time. Uh, like,
Oh my God, the heat! Yeah.
the heat. They already had the heat when they split up the Judgment Day the first time with Rhea, and it's kind of cooled down since Rhea's no longer feuding with them.
Yeah.
But the heat the two of them will have with championship belts, oh god, especially everybody loves Finn. Finn's not a heel. Like, everybody loves Finn. If you screw Finn over to get there, oh god, the heat that they'll get.
We talked about it, and we're both in agreement. Dominik should win the match. He should come away with the title. There's so much story to tell there. Giving Dom his first real singles title.
Don't say real. NXT is
That's
canon.
that is not canon. Anyways, so yeah, so having his first main roster title, um, the things you can do just story wise, and then again, if he pins Finn, you automatically have his first feud for that title.
He was a tag champion. It wouldn't be his first main roster title.
I don't count that. I'm sorry.
It was him and his father, the first father-son WWE tag team champions.
Does that count? I don't even. It was so long ago. I don't even remember it.
It was before that he turned on Edge. That's how long ago it was.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It was a really long time ago. I totally forgot that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's just so many stories that you can tell with Finn losing at Mania to Dominik. The other two, right away, as we discussed, it would be nice to see if Braun loses the title, automatically you shoot him up to the main title picture. If Jay is holding the belt, automatically he feels his story is, oh, I can go and get that title because I've beaten this man twice.
Yep.
I've beaten this guy. I've taken a title from him. I'm coming for this title, and you do that, and then you just got to figure out Penta, and Penta's an easy because you can literally fit him in anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what we think should happen anyway. Hopefully it does, but down for the W.
Yeah. Like I said, it should be Dom winning. And then you said if Dom doesn't win, you think Finn should win that title. And then
Yes, and because then you can continue with the.
destruction
There's
of the
no
group.
there's no leader, but meanwhile he's acting like the leader, and now he has a belt, so he really thinks he's the leader, and you could just continue that either way.
Yeah. If Dom wins at Mania, the group is immediately destroyed. If Finn wins at Mania, then you can
It's business as
prolong it out.
usual, and you prolong it. Yep.
Okay, so then we get the main event segment. Like I said, Oswald Cobblepot versus the Joker in the middle of the ring. Paul Heyman comes out to the ring and he starts a promo in his very Paul Heyman ways, talking about how much he loves Roman Reigns and how he'll always be loyal to Roman Reigns, and how CM Punk is his best friend and he will always be loyal to CM Punk. But just because he's loyal to the both of them doesn't mean he will ever be too disloyal to the other one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Roman sees it that way.
He definitely does not.
I think Roman will see it as, if you're paying attention to Punk, you're being disloyal to me.
Yep.
That's how he's always going to look at it. So as he's saying this, Seth Rollins comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And Seth Rollins is talking to Paul Heyman and planting seeds in Paul Heyman's mind. He's saying, Roman doesn't love you. Roman uses you. Mm-hmm. Roman wants you to shine his shoes. Roman wants you to book his travel. Roman wants you to hand him Zula Fala. Roman wants you to do all these things. But when he lost last year at Mania, and he, again, thanks to one brilliantly dressed visionary, when he lost at WrestleMania, he left you in the hands of Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline. He did not care to check up on you.
Mm-hmm.
When you got your ass beat and they put you through the table in front of your kids, Roman was not there to protect you, nor did he check up on you.
Mm-hmm.
Roman uses you. And then the other one, CM Punk, was also not there to protect you. He was in the building, but he did not come to save you.
Yep.
Actually, he may not have been in the building. He might have been still recovering from his injury. I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But CM Punk was also not there to save you. CM Punk, when he walked out on all of these fans 10 years ago, did not take you with him.
Nope.
Did not ask you to go with him.
Mm-hmm.
When he came back, he didn't come looking for his best friend.
He did not.
He didn't come asking for anything. He waited until you needed something. And then when you asked him for something, he made sure that there was a caveat with it, that there was a favor to be had for CM Punk.
And that friends don't do that.
Friends don't do that. He said best friends don't use each other.
Yep.
Seth also made the point of when you guys needed somebody for War Games, Punk wasn't your first choice. I was. Punk was your last choice.
Which I would have made the argument right then and there, yeah. And so you didn't help me either when I needed it. So none of you.
Correct. But in Seth's mind,
I know.
Roman's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Roman deserves every knife in the back that Roman's ever going to get.
100%. 100%.
So, but Seth starts pushing all of his buttons. And then physically, and he goes, Roman's not here to save you, so if I want you to take you out so you don't make it to Mania, I can.
Mm-hmm.
So he starts pushing Paul Heyman. And I think he did say Punk's not here either. But like I said yesterday when we were recording the podcast, when he starts pushing Paul Heyman, he starts looking towards the ramp. Mm-hmm. So he's trying to goat CM Punk to come out. So I think he messed up his promo. So eventually he gets Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman does a great job also yelling back at Rollins, don't put your damn hands on me. Mm-hmm. Because, again, he either one is going to swerve everybody and go with Rollins, or two, he doesn't fear Rollins the way he fears everybody else.
Yep.
So Rollins eventually gets him into the corner, Pie faces him, and that's when Punk's music hits. Punk gets out to the ring. They start brawling around the ring. Punk gets the better of him, positions Seth on the ring steps for a stomp. He goes for it. He misses. Rollins scurries into the ring. Punk tries to follow. Rollins hits Punk with a stomp. Paul Heyman goes to check on Punk. He puts himself in a perfect position to get stomped by Rollins. Rollins, again, he's in the corner doing the Roman Reigns gearing up. I want to hit my taunt special thing. Yeah. And he goes to stomp Heyman. Mm-hmm. Heyman moves and Rollins stops short. And he grabs the mic that was still in Heyman's hand. He grabs it and he goes, now you owe me a favor. Now you owe me a favor. Which you don't like. I don't like it. I don't like how they got there. I think the idea of Heyman owing Rollins the favor while being stuck between the two people he really cares about is intriguing, but I don't like how they got there. It's like, I owe you a favor because you didn't stomp my head through the ground. That doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm not giving somebody a favor because you didn't beat my ass. Like, that don't make no sense. But the idea of him owing Rollins something while he's stuck between them is intriguing.
I disagree. I think it's too much. I think it's too much. You already owe one guy a favor. You're fulfilling that favor at WrestleMania. It's already causing you enough drama, and now you're gonna cop to owing another person another like no. I don't like it. Now, to your point that you brought up in weeks prior about Heyman possibly going with Seth, that I do find intriguing, because think of what he's done for everybody else. What he did for Brock, what he did for Roman, what he did for CM Punk. Paul Heyman helps to catapult whatever character or gimmick you have to the next level. And Seth is, for years, to your point, has been one of the top guys. He's always there. He's not a part timer. He's in and out. As soon as he has a title, he's always defending it week in, week out. But he's still kind of like at the bottom of the list.
Mm-hmm.
He's still main. He's there for the main titles. He's in the main title picture, but he's at the bottom of the list always. And I don't know why exactly that is, but I do feel that if Paul were to swerve everybody, and you came up with this before Bully Ray and everybody else on their little podcast, I just want to put that out there, and I want to give you the credit where the credit is due. If he were to do that, he would be able to take Seth to that next level.
Yeah, Seth has always been, and people have made this comparison to him before. He's always been the Bret Hart of the WWE,
I could see
and
that.
Hogan. I'm sorry, Roman is more of the Hogan type of WWE. Not that I'm comparing him to that despicable human being. I'm just saying, it's like that's the level of star that they are. Seth is just dependable. Like he even going into Mania last year, he was hurt. He was wrestling on like a partially torn meniscus because he wanted to get through Mania. He's then the workhorse. He's number 4 in priority in this company right now, behind Cody and CM Punk and Roman, and it kind of sucks. Putting him with Heyman could elevate him into that stratosphere with the three of them, because I was listening to Steve and Larson, the Going Raw podcast, and they're a great podcast for if you guys want to listen to them. They were making the point that they're the top 4 guys, but the gap between 3 and 4 is huge. And regardless of who you think is 3, I think it's ends up being Cody, Roman, Punk right now. The
Mm,
gap between Punk and Seth is huge
mm-hmm.
as far as importance in the company. And I don't think it should be that way. I've always loved Seth. I think he's a great worker. I think he does everything very well. I understand sometimes his gimmicks can be a little bit much for people,
Mm-hmm.
but he plays into it so well. Like he's always taken his character, even if it was that stupid Monday Night Messiah and I want to be Jesus and running a cult thing. He plays into it and puts everything into it and makes it entertaining. So I've always felt that way about Seth. I would want him to win this match. And even if he doesn't, even if he's not walking away with Paul Heyman, I want him to win this match because he's the forgotten one of the 3.
I
And
agree. He would have the most. He has the most to gain from that victory, versus the other two. It really doesn't matter. If Roman loses, he doesn't get anything. He doesn't lose anything. If CM Punk loses, he doesn't lose anything. But Seth
mhm,
does have the most to gain from that
yes,
victory. I agree with you.
yeah, 100%. Like the only, and if it's not, like I said, if it's not going to be Rollins, Roman should win this. Punk needs to win this match because even though he gets his WrestleMania match, he gets his WrestleMania main event, I can see him not being truly fulfilled with not being in the final match of WrestleMania, because this is going to main event probably night 1. You're not going to put it in night 2 over Cena and Cody.
Yeah.
So for him to beat these 2 guys who have both main evented WrestleManias, he has the promo that and the reasoning. Hey, I beat Roman, who's the Golden Goose. I beat Seth Rollins, who's been running around here for years, stealing my gimmicks and saying that saying he's the best. He's the best wrestler in the world, and he main evented last year's WrestleMania. I I need to get into next year's WrestleMania match, next year's Night 2 championship match, because no one can say I don't deserve it.
Hmm.
And he'd have to go out and win the Rumble next year. Like they're not just going to hand it to him.
Agreed.
But that is going to be his through line for the entire year if he wins this match. That's going to be the only thing he talks about all year long. Getting to WrestleMania next year and main eventing night 2.
I agree.
So
Overall,
overall, yeah, go ahead. We've known each other way too long.
we think alike. Overall, it was a really good show, really fun show. They've been putting on stellar shows the last few weeks, especially on Monday nights. SmackDown's been getting a lot better as we rev up to WrestleMania. We got 3 shows left, a week and a half.
2 SmackDowns in a row, yeah.
Yeah, and then to the biggest show on earth.
Yep. It's Easter weekend, April 19th and 20th, which is still crazy to me that the city of Las Vegas really wanted WrestleMania on Easter weekend. I guess because they're anticipating having more people in Vegas for the weekend. I don't know, but it's been a long build this year because WrestleMania is usually the first Sunday in April,
Yep.
and now it's the third Sunday in April. So we've had a long build. Um, but I'm the last couple weeks are making me more and more excited for Mania. While a lot of the builds, it just didn't, they weren't hitting the notes to make it. It felt like a lackluster build to Mania, and then now they're finally hitting their stride.
Yeah, agreed. I'm excited. What's the match you're most excited for?
So I'm not a Cena fan, but it's gonna be Cody Cena. I
That's exactly where my mind was. I was like, I need to see Cena win the belt. I need to
I'm
see Cena win the belt. I want to see him do it, and I want to see how he does it because it has to be in some heel form or
uh-huh.
fashion.
Yeah, I'm not a Cena fan, and I've never truly been a Cody fan, and I understand the appeal of both of them. But having Cena win it as a heel, um, win 17 in some heel fashion, and then build off on that for the rest of his reign, the rest of his run, until he eventually turns back babyface towards the end. Um, I think that'll be great. And and like I said, we spoke about this yesterday. If he wins, you can start doing the John Cena Greatest Hits tour. You
Mm-hmm.
can have a match against Roman. You can have a match against Randy Orton.
CM
Have a
Punk.
match against CM Punk. You can have a match against Seth Rollins, another guy over there. You can start having the John Cena Greatest Hits tour with him as a heel, and I think that can be really intriguing. Having him as a heel champion, and then having Cody have something to fight for the rest of the year. Having to make sure, and then that's Cody's story. Having to make sure John doesn't retire with the championship, you know, because that's been seen as one through line. I'm going to retire with this championship, go home with the championship, and y'all are going to be fake champions after I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
And Cody would have to be the one throughout the year to do everything he can to try and stop him.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. So that is the match I'm most excited to see.
Agreed. So yeah, so that brings us to the end, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Continue to like, follow, subscribe, comment.
Rate, comment.
Yeah, all those nice things that help to grow the channel. We appreciate you guys as always. You can find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and on TikTok. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. The fact that
All
you're
at.
over here, you're
I was
like,
just trying to. I'm trying to
yeah,
think if you forgot what. I
no.
mean, it's an RSS feed. I also have it on Castbox Audio if you have it there. If you use that for a podcasting app, but it is an RSS feed, so it should be going out to multiple platforms. Um, all at Squashfest Pod. You can also find him at JRock the Mad Hatter, me at Boy Harm on most social medias. And if you guys make sure you comment on these videos, so that way we can have the back and forth and discourse. Make sure if you see something, like the bloopers that we always have been posting on TikTok. If you see something funny, comment on that because we're gonna continue to do this. We're just two guys who love wrestling and are going to continue to make flubs and mistakes as we do this.
Very true. Anyways, we appreciate you guys as always, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.